Alright, we're doing another episode.
Long ago,
Accents are hard, huh?
changed when the Fire Nation
Season 1, Episode 11. The Great Divide.
Master of all four
How's that?
elements, could ours
The
is to
Great
get
Divide,
out.
notoriously the worst episode of the season. I'm pumped. Everyone's already made fun of this episode to death. I am excited to do it
I haven't
too.
even started. Sokka, you're supposed to put the tarp on top of the tent.
That tarp makes a pretty warm blanket.
But what if it does rain?
What if it doesn't?
Ugh, you're infuriating!
Katara, why don't you worry about gathering the firewood? Because that kindling's looking pretty sorry.
I actually haven't seen this episode in a while, and they make the characters so unlikable. And also kind of weird looking. It's like they drew them bad.
Well, if you don't like my firewood,
Fine by me. If you're not gonna...
Like, that's not what Sokka looks like, you know? The conflict of the episode is because Sokka doesn't want to put the tarp up. I mean, Katara is wrong here. Like, if it does start raining, you could put the tarp up then.
well, you're Mr. Lazy Bum, king of the tents.
Katara both started this fight and also threw a stick. It's like cartoon logic where you can just get hit with a stick because when you power scale against bending, sticks doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But getting hit with a stick in the back of the head sucks. And then Aang just laughs
Listen,
because he's a simp.
guys, harsh words won't solve problems. Action will.
Also, I think later in the episode, the sort of punchline, like if this is the setup, harsh words won't solve your problems, actions will. And then the punchline later is that they misinterpret it and then fight. And Aang's like, oh no, how could they misinterpret my wise words? Like that harsh words won't solve your problems, actions will sounds like a call to fighting. That sounds like something Winston Churchill would say.
There it is, guys. The Great Divide.
Hey, if you're looking for the canyon guide, I was here first. My whole tribe has to walk thousands of miles to the capital city of Ba Sing Se.
You're a refugee.
That's the Zhang tribe, a bunch of low-life thieves. They've been the enemies of my tribe for 100 years.
Where are the rest of the Ganjin? Still tidying up their campsite?
Yeah.
That is kind of interesting that though the Ganjin were forced out of their homes and stuff, they were able to dress nicely. And to have a tribe who is defined by its cleanliness juxtaposed against a tribe who's defined by its messiness. It feels like this episode was written with 9-year-olds in mind as the target demo, but this is not even what they want to think about. Like when I'm 9, I don't want to have my TV talk about whether or not I'm clean. Like, you watch the show for the powers and jumping around, not... Ugh.
I was here first. My party's on their way.
I can't guide people who aren't here.
Guess you guys will have to make the trip tomorrow.
Is it only a one-day trip? That is no big deal. It's like they do everything in their power to lower the stakes of this episode. They can't deal with each other because of their cleanliness issues, and it sets them back one day on their 1,000-mile journey. It also seems like it'd be perfect because the Ganjins are slower and need more time to tidy up anyway. They might like the extra day to do more preening.
Wait, here they come.
I wonder if this whole episode, the idea they had was a little more like class struggle based. Because if you just look at them, it looks like it would be a class thing, upper class, lower class refugees, which would be actually interesting. But they thought, well, how could we reframe that for children? I'm going to rewrite every class struggle story in terms of messy and clean. Oh, like Hunger Games. The tidy capital and those messy districts that just won't take off their shoes before they enter the apartment. Slobs of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your Swiffer wet jet. Does that make sense?
Maybe you Zhangs wouldn't have so many sick people if you weren't such slobs.
If you Ganjins weren't so clean, maybe you wouldn't live to be so old.
That might be the worst argument I've ever heard. Look how ugly they are.
Ready to put your peacemaking skills to the test?
I don't know. A fight over chores is one thing. These people.
A fight over chores is one thing. A fight over cleanliness, that's beyond the scope of the Avatar. I would have to go into the Avatar state and consult everyone.
Have been feuding for 100 years.
Everyone listen up!
For Aang to not be willing to try to settle a dispute because it's 100 years old, astoundingly bad writing. The premise of the show is that he is solving a global dispute that is 100 years old. It's impressive how stupid everything in this episode is. I can't handle a thing that's 100 years old. That's way beyond my scope. Anyway, this whole war, this world war that I'm here. I know everyone's already talked about how shitty this episode is, but I don't think people have come through line by line just how stupid it is.
You could share the Earthbender and travel together?
Absolutely not. We'd rather be taken by the Fire Nation than travel with those stinking thieves.
We wouldn't travel with you pompous fools anyway.
I am not.
When you could just wait one day. It's one day.
Pompous.
All right, here's the deal. You're all going down together, and I'll be here. We'll fly your sick and elderly across. Does that seem fair?
They just said they didn't want to do that. They both agreed that they didn't want to do that. And then Aang yelled, and then they did agree. They're like, I would rather die than share even a moment with my worst enemies. And then Aang's like, hey. And then he's like, whoa, okay, I was ready to die. I was not ready to get yelled at. I hate getting yelled at. It makes me feel small.
Are you sure it's a good idea getting involved in this?
It's a one-day walk. If it's a one-day walk, Appa could transport everyone there in less time. They could just make a bunch of trips.
Making peace between people is his job.
His job's gonna make us cross this whole...
Look at this looks like a Sunday morning cartoon. Look at its face and how big his head is. Ugh. It looks like if they Teen Titans Go Avatar. Actually, I think they did that. I forget what it was called.
No food allowed in the canyon. It attracts dangerous predators.
No food? This is ridiculous.
Oh, you babies can go a day without food.
This also doesn't make sense. It's not that they would have to go a day without food. It's that they would have to leave all their provisions. They would have to go starting today with no food for what they said was thousands of miles journey walking through the desert in the dry season. This is actually a death sentence. And for this earthbender to be like, ooh, you babies can go a day without food. Like, does everyone he brings across just die 60 yards outside of the Great Divide?
Would you rather be hungry or dead?
That's the same thing in this case. He's like one of those coyotes. I read a book about this. He's like one of those guys that says they'll transport people up from Mexico to the U.S. and then just leaves them in the desert with no money and food. I think this guy might be like a real piece of shit. He's really taking advantage of these refugees. Nobody bring any food, and the only way to get the monsters from attacking us is for people to have sex with me. Keep my strength up, because I don't have any food either. And give me all your money. That guy had a turkey leg in his... Ew. You know what? Maybe this is just about cleanliness, because that's heinous. He had a turkey leg touching a fur. That would have so many, like, dusties on it. And wait, okay. Are there any bowls, or are they just eating, like, they didn't want to show it, but they were just, had a bunch of meat in their bare hands that they were, all right, whatever, you get it.
He's gonna take good care of you till we get there.
Get where? Where's
Sit on
Appa
the
going?
other
How does he
side,
know?
buddy. Nice bending.
The job's much more than bending, kid. Folks want information.
Nope. Nope. These are refugees that you have just told to throw all their food away. They just want to get across.
Many of you are probably wondering how
And now you're forcing them to listen to, like, your tour guide thing. I think this guy might be the worst man in the show so far.
canyons are formed.
Could you imagine, like, being a refugee, escaping, and people are, like, telling you, like, you're a refugee escaping from, like, Yemen or something, and while you're going through the desert, this guy is like, do you know where deserts come from? And you're like, my uncle died in my arms, and my son is missing an arm and a leg. Yes, but deserts, they're actually, all those sands used to be big rocks, just like how all the rubble where you came from used to be your homes.
We'll be safe now. No bending. We need to get out of this canyon. I won't die down here.
That's weird. I would think he would be okay with, I don't know. He seems like a weird hermit guy. Where does he want to die? Up in his little shack? Up, all right, fine.
We're going to become part of the food chain because of you.
Sure, unjustly blame the Zhangs like you always do.
The fact that he never once stoops to calling her ugly it says something about the Ganjins, about their character and class. She is one of the only ugly women in the whole Avatar universe. They generally look generic and pretty, and she is ugly. Even that guy, the old guy, leader of the Ganjins, is also kind of a generic pretty woman with a beard.
We should split up. Ganjin's on this side and Zhang's on that side. Sokka, you go with the Zhangs, and Katara, you go with the Ganjins.
They're literally going in opposite directions. One of them's gonna die.
So it was you guys who had food.
Oh, come now. You really think that tribe of thieves isn't smuggling food?
Why does your tribe hate the Zhang so much?
I bet you would enjoy hearing some history. That coward Wei Jin knocked Jin Wei to the ground and stole our sacred ore. You can never trust a Zhang.
Katara is instantly racist.
Care for some meat?
Would I?
I know what you must be thinking. We're horrible for endangering everybody by bringing food down here. The Ganjin think so badly of us, they probably assumed we brought food in and decided to bring food in themselves. That's why we brought food in.
She nails it. That is exactly what happened.
Our conflict with the Ganjin goes back over 100 years.
I like how Sokka didn't ask. Also, I think it's funny that the Ganjin's imagination is pristine and looks like how Avatar is animated, maybe even better, whereas the Zhangs are stupid and poor and dirty, so their imagination reflects that.
Our
Even the background music is like
forefather, Wei Jin, was
Stone
leaving the
Agey.
western gate of our
Look at that.
village when he saw a figure.
I don't know what people look like. I'm too dirty and poor.
Kind Wei Jin promised to send help for the man as soon as he could.
I mean, yeah, if I assumed one of them was lying, it would be the one where everything looks stylized and crazy. That would be my guess. You don't even know what trees look like. Why would I assume you can recall what happened accurately?
Sure would be nice to be around one of those campfires.
Then be around one of those campfires. You could go to both campfires.
Lonely, isn't it? Being impartial.
There's no reason either of them have to be impartial, or that sitting in either of these groups would demonstrate partiality. They can just sit there.
I wish I could help these people get along. I guess our biggest problem is getting out of here.
I'm not so sure the two problems are unrelated.
They are. The problem is your arms are broken, so you can't bend. Just gonna say that and call it a night.
The Zhangs really wronged the Ganjins.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Katara, what are you talking about? Wei Jin didn't steal the orb. He was returning it to their village gate and was wrongfully punished by the Ganjin.
Not punished enough, if you ask me.
And then neither of them would have the wherewithal to be like, well, yeah, I don't know what happened. This is just what the biased group over here told me. The real thing Aang as the Avatar should be concerned with is that his friends have known these people for like 6 hours and developed deep bigotry. Both Sokka and Katara are bigots now after hearing one story around a campfire.
Let's get everyone together at the base of the canyon wall.
Why did Aang fly up like 1,000 feet just to walk 15 yards forward?
As soon as we get out of here, we can eat, and then go our separate ways.
What can they eat? They gave up all their food. They're going to die. The best thing they could do is team up and kill the tour guide and eat him. He's fat because he keeps stealing all of their food. That's probably what he does. He goes back and then loots all their food out of the trash cans.
Guys, focus! How many times do I have to say it? Harsh words won't solve problems. Action will.
You've only said that one other time in the series, and it obviously would lead to fighting. It'd be awesome if she gained a beard. If half his beard fell off and then she just gained a beard. That would have improved the episode dramatically. I think this would go from one of the least favorite episodes to one of the most favorite episodes if she had sprouted a woman beard. Also, all Aang is doing here is just threatening. In the beginning, when he gets them to work together, he just screams at them. And now I get this is a presumed threat of force. He'll kill them.
Everyone smuggled food down here?
You know what else? Sokka and Katara ate some of the smuggled food and didn't bring Aang any. They were so wrapped up in being hateful bigots, they didn't feed their friend who is a little boy younger than them.
So hungry.
And at this point, why wouldn't Aang eat? What is the point of abstaining now?
They're coming back for me.
This guy's a narcissist. He's a bad man. He has no sense of responsibility for the people he's taken down here.
I don't care about this stupid feud. I just want us to get out of here alive.
Obviously, why would they care?
Me too.
Yes.
Everybody, watch me do what I do!
Use your airbending to jump 40 feet on top of one of the things. Do that. Capture. Put the bag around this thing's crocodile mouth and then do like a flip onto it and then saddle it in one move. Did you get that, fat lady and old man? Do that. How'd you get on top there? How are the people who are on top on top? They just appeared on top.
We're riding out of this hole!
They all get halfway up the mountain and then the things start to suffocate because these bags don't have holes and they all fall down. It's like annoying that they're playing the show song here. Like this is the song they play when Aang fights Ozai. And they're playing it for the putting bags on the spider things' mouths and riding them out of the... Ugh. It's like insulting to the show. I'm genuinely like, you should have just kept playing the like doing ding ding doing like that song. That's what the payoff of this episode deserved.
I never thought a Ganjin could get his hands dirty like that.
And I never knew you Zhangs were so reliable in a pinch.
Those aren't even opposites. It's not like one had to be clean, one had to be dirty. They're like, I didn't know you could do dirty stuff. I didn't know you could do anything because I think you're a dishonest piece of... It seems like the bigotry from the rich people to the poor people is much more hateful and deep-seated than the other way around. It's like, we think you guys are dirty thieves who really have no skills and are just good for nothing and a waste of space. On the other side, they're like, we think you guys only wear white. And that's silly given that we're traveling.
Jin Wei? Wei Jin? I know those guys.
Aang is so wise, he's able to imagine both animation styles.
Jin Wei and Wei Jin weren't enemies. They were brothers. Twins, in fact.
And he's kind of landed on the better animation style.
And they were 8. They were just playing a game. Jin Wei had the ball and was running toward the goal when he fell and fumbled it. Wei Jin didn't steal the ball. He picked it up and started running it back toward the other goal. There was no stealing and no putting anyone in prison. Just a game.
What's crazy is this is the worst episode of Avatar ever made, but this is precisely how we're going to solve Israel-Palestine. Precisely. They, in 2004 or whenever this came out, laid out an exact roadmap and script for how to successfully end the conflict. Incredible.
I suppose it's time we forget the past.
They would be Palestine, and these
Future.
guys would be Israel. But you all already knew that.
I made the whole thing up.
That is so wrong.
Now where's that custard tart?
Okay, I don't know what to make. I mean, everybody hates the ending of this. I don't know. It makes as much sense as the rest of it. Tonally, it fits. This was a nonsense episode. Second, Aang, you know the custard tart was eaten by one of those crawler things. You know that. Why are you saying that? What are you walking towards? There's no food. Written by John O'Brien. I just wanted to say his name. This was written by John O'Brien. So now you know. His name's John O'Brien. I'm sure he's online somewhere. I'm sure he has things you can comment on. John O'Brien. Thanks for watching.